All right. So we are group two. Today we have Joshua and I'm Jason, and our other members are Minkyu and Anthony. So today we're just gonna briefly discuss our analysis of the poem called Chess. Right. So, what we came up as a group, our central idea was that conflict breeds completion. So to dissect this, for us, conflict or the conflict rather is represented by the hypothetical game of chess, or what supposedly the poet, and the other figure are playing. And the breed is kind of like the slow, monotonous process of the game, because if you know games like chess or any strategy-based games, they are, for the most part, they are mind games, and they really involve a lot of thinking, hence the slow process. And then completion is the result of the relationship being built through the game or the conflict, because it's such a long process. You know, it helps develop the relationship. It sort of completes the relationship, solidifies it. Right. Next slide, please. So we are going to analyze individual lines. So one line that really caught our attention was the line which said, "We've been sitting here for centuries, meditating." So we kind of summarize it as a constant struggle to no avail, because we question why would the author or why would the poet use centuries instead of months or hours. As we said before, it's a slow, monotonous process, and by expressing it through centuries, it kind of gives the reader some a somewhat a feeling of how long it should be, even though technically it's not really by centuries. It's just a hypothetical situation. Next slide, please. So, because we are friends and sometimes love each other, perhaps to add one more tie to the many that already bound us, we decided to play games of the mind. So, we decided, or this line also intrigued us as well, especially because, one, when it says because we were friends, it's kind of referring to the past tense. So, we kind of interpret it as something, perhaps the relationship wasn't as stronger as it was before. However, it says in the poem, they are adding one more tie to the many that already bound them. So it still shows that even though their relationship may not have been as strong as before, they're they're willing to work to mend it, or because they have so much invested in each other, it's not really easy for them to just let go of each other. And to play games in the mind obviously represents the hypothetical game of chess. Yeah. Next
Okay.
slide.
So this line specifically, or these three lines, ferociously how to deal one last final blow that will annihilate the other one forever. It contradicts our thought of how, like, while yes, it does kind of in a sense contradict the fact that conflict conflict breeding completion, in a sense, like how they're technically close, because this is one line that doesn't necessarily like add as much, like doesn't really. No, my bad. Just sorry, stuttering. So in war, uh, this would make sense, as doing so can effectively aid in helping you win. However, in the poem, if that were truly the case, why is there no explicit language other? Why is there no explicit language stating this other than this line? These lines are the only lines that denote this explicit language. If the poem didn't have these lines, the poem would have been lighthearted otherwise, almost endearing that these individuals are playing this game for so long. But it has this line, and I believe it's an intentional thing to show that even though they're friends, they still have their ups and downs, and they're still willing to, like. And it's sort of like friendly banter in a sense. Well, friendly in the sense that in their own point of view, if that's understandable. So if and this line adds more to that thought of that, how they're still friends, and whether this is like just whether this is like about two people fighting to the bitter end. Why add rules specifically? Why did they have to learn the rules to respect and to respect them to begin with? If anything, it's kind it set it does it's setting boundaries that's not cross the line, showing that they can that they have that respect despite claiming at the very end that they want to know each other, and it's never really explicitly stated at like in the end that they actually did do that. In fact, it's been from the earlier lines, as I said earlier, how they've been sitting for centuries, meditating, focusing on the game at hand. It shows that they were still there, trying to like finish what they started, and which is mending that bond. That, as I said earlier, which completes kind of like a cycle, you know. Perhaps to add one more tie to the main that already bound it. Even though the relationship may not be as strong as before, because there's so many things or ties that bound these two individuals together, the hypothetical chess game represents adding the final tie to strengthen the relationship even further than it already has. And that's about it, I believe.
Right. Thank you,
Yeah.
and we hope you enjoy our analysis.